on the Metaverse. In the Metaverse. How cool is that? Frank, thank you so much for joining me on the channel.
Thanks, Milo. I'm sorry. Thanks, Crypto Serpent. It's great to have be here, and we're excited to show you what we have to do today.
Yes. So for those of you watching right now, we are inside the Metaverse of PAX World. And like I said, I am super excited for this because there is just, I mean, already so many incredible achievements that this organization has achieved. And so to be in the Metaverse and having this is really, really exciting.
Well, it's great to have you. I mean, it's been an amazing couple of months for us, just going, expanding our team massively and really just starting to get the recognition within the community and the awards that we've won. It's been really exciting for us. So
Yes. And of course, like there is obviously a lot of things that I want to talk to you guys about today. But let's kick off with obviously, how did the idea for PAX World come about?
Well, I mean, it really came about when I first moved to Zurich and I got out of traditional finance. And I really wanted to start doing the programming that I wanted to do, which was video games. It's been a passion of my life since I was a child.
Yes.
But really what I had done for many years is go to conferences and go to events and speak with people. And I never went to those conferences to go watch the speakers or do the events. It was all just making that networking and talking with different people. So the original idea I had was I wanted to make a space that I could walk up to someone, recognize their face, see them, go, oh, I know that person, and just start a conversation. And so it all started with that general idea back in 2017, if you can believe that, where I started building out this whole idea of a metaverse and communication around people. And really, I realized after about 9 months, the world wasn't ready for it yet. Socially, people just didn't get the idea. The computers may not have been to the level that I wanted it to be at, other than blocky architecture stuff. And, so I put it on a shelf for a little bit. And then COVID hit, and everyone I had showed that to said, can you get that up and running tomorrow? And I said, no. I said, no. I mean, this is a big project. So I went out and hired a team, invested a bunch of money, got some backers, and started blowing this thing up and started building out a bunch of concert events and trade shows and different things. But really, I always wanted to get into like the Web3 architecture and build a currency of my universe. And so that's when I started doing that last April, and really started integrating the whole system. And it's just exploded since we went live with the idea to everyone here in December. So it's just gone from 0 to 1,000.
Yeah, I mean, look, for me personally, like when I first found out about you, you've won Best Metaverse Awards when you were competing against the likes of Decentraland and Sandbox. I mean, how does that feel?
I mean, it was fantastic. This was at AIBC down in Dubai the other week, a couple of weeks ago, and it was really vindicating for us. We were up against 5 different metaverses, of course, Decentraland and Sandbox being the 2 biggest. And I think the general idea there is we have something a little different. That we're going for more of that professional, that you go into the metaverse as you and communicate and talk with people in these Zoom style video chat systems where you can walk around and talk to different people. And so I think, I've been in Decentraland, I've been in Sandbox multiple times. I've never met anybody. And I kind of tour around and look at stuff, and it's fun. This is almost enforced in a way where you walk into these center areas or these offices or these areas in their concert spaces, and all of a sudden you're talking to a party of 35 people somewhere halfway around the world. And it's a great interaction. It's very unique.
I have to say, like I've been a professional networker for the better half of a decade. And even before then, like, since I was 24, so like a good 10 years now have gone by where I go to many networking events across Australia. And I have to say, from the minute I walked into this metaverse, I was really surprised that it is like networking in real life. Like I'm in here, you go up to the next person, you start talking to them, and it's fascinating. And I've only been in for about
Yeah.
12 minutes, but like I feel home. That's probably the first feeling that I got when I first got into Paxford is I felt right at
Well,
home.
it's crazy too. Is some of the interesting things we've done with scheduling meetings in here with different, let's call it competitors directly, one after another, just making
Yes.
sure they bump into each other, knowing that we're talking to the other person. And it's like those types of
Yeah.
dynamics where they're like, oh wait, I know them, and you're like, oh, I know them too. They're our competitor. And like, oh, is that right? We didn't know. And
Yeah.
it's that real type of feeling that you get in the real world where you actually can just see the person's face. You're not even talking to them, and you see them across from the room, and you know
Yes.
exactly what that dynamic is, and that's
Now,
that's like the
I know
greatest
that,
communication points.
yeah, it's incredible. It's absolutely incredible. And I know that you've attended a lot of events across Dubai
Yep.
recently. So tell me, like March was a big month for you guys in Dubai. Tell me a little bit about that and, what was that like?
Well, sure. I mean, we were kicking the whole thing off with Meta Week, right? So we sponsored
Yeah.
Meta Week at the beginning of the month, and we just, I actually was going down to Dubai a couple weeks before just to. My family was down there for a vacation. I said, I'm just going to take one meeting, which turned into about
Yes.
35 meetings. And then I had Meta Week. And then I
I
went
can
to the week
imagine.
after. And, next thing you know, I'm in Dubai for 6 weeks and getting invited to all the major events and everything else. And it was just, it was really sort of our coming out party to the public. We'd come out to the investor side of things. Now we're coming out to the crypto community in a really large way here. And really beginning to take that stage so that we're ready for what we're planning to do as an IEO in early June. So
Yeah.
IEO, IDO. So, and it went straight through with AIBC to, all the way through Binance where we presented inside the Reef booth. So
That's incredible. Now, I did
yeah,
notice actually when I first walked in, I did notice that the Reef Group logo was featured on one of the walls. So I found that that stood out to me. But look, show me around. Like let's
sure.
show the Serpent community around this metaverse. Do you want me to click on the screen?
Yeah, click on the big screen there. I just shared my
So
screen
for
up
those
there.
of you, at home, like that are watching this video right now, basically I'm inside this metaverse, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the screen, and you can see now that I'm getting three options. I guess stop, zoom all, and then or return to my avatar. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to click zoom all, and that should give me. Is that the whole screen now?
Yep. So we Zoom all. We actually use that on a lot of different things, especially when we have 3 or 4 screens, when we have do multiple presentations. So it'll actually
Yeah.
zoom out and get all the different screens. In this case, you only have one there. So this is just another office space as well. Of course, that's the award we won for AIBC's Metaverse of the Year that my guys put in within 2 days. They had it spinning around inside the metaverse.
That's
We just have
amazing.
a couple of small things here. Obviously, we have some cars we can go into. You can look at the interior. You can play around with that. You can change the colors of the car.
That's really cool.
These are all just modifiable objects that we can edit pretty simply, just by even placing objects around the world, where we can stick a grand piano. Oops. If I zoom out. We can stick a grand piano around. We can edit the object. We can set up rotations and mess around with this. So it's really simple to manipulate the world around once you have admin access to an area. I'll just
Yes.
delete that. But what we're actually sitting in is what we call a subverse, right? And these are the areas that landowners can have for themselves as their private areas, which they can gate with NFTs or other items. But then as we go in, we will actually port up to the top level metaverse very quickly.
Fascinating.
Yep. Sorry, one sec. I think my screen just froze.
Yeah. No. This is all like it's just all fascinating. From the way that you're essentially teleporting now to the next stop.
Exactly. Except I think I have 15 of these screens running right now, and
Yes.
it just froze on me, unfortunately. But we'll just go into it, and I'll show you how this actually works on a different one.
Yeah,
Uh,
no, of course, absolutely.
so as we go in, of course, we can customize our avatar with our wardrobe. We can actually place our face on with a single image.
Yeah, I was very happy that you had a suit. So I chose that one straight away.
Nice. So this is actually another one of our, we're currently working with different materials of our underlying look and feel of our worlds, of what they'll actually look like. This is one where we have a new one with some architectural items that we're beginning to lay out. You'll notice our metaverse has these hexagonal areas that basically lay out our pieces of land and actually have elevation to them. So we actually have
Yeah, I
full
did
mountain
notice that.
range, and we have mountain ranges and all sorts of different areas that we can set up. And if we go through, this is just various layouts that we have of different worlds. So we're building out some common space areas, which will be able to do various items. We have all sorts of theaters and bridges, and this is the new look and feel that we're beginning to play with. I think it's going to be modified about 2 more times before we come up with the final on this.
So, like
Um,
for example, let's say Crypto Serpent wanted to create, I guess I don't know, Crypto Serpent land within your world, within your metaverse, for Crypto Serpent fans and guests
sure.
to come on. So then I would essentially, the process, right? So I would come on once you guys launch, and I would buy a piece of land, and then I would start to build what I want to build on it.
Yep. So what we would do, I guess we could start here and show you the land application that is going to be released in 2 weeks
Yes.
out to the public. And what we actually have here are various pieces of land that are set up for what is our PAX Island. So this is 28,000 pieces of land that are out there. Only 20,000 will ever be sold in the entire environment.
Okay.
Initially, we are selling 4,000 pieces of land along this road, basically, that is set up in this nice color here with the highlight. And each one
Yes.
of these pieces of land is set up to be purchased out on OpenSea. And each of these areas here are spawn points or main spawn points that are done, or what we call the Meta Sarai, which is a throwback to the old Silk Road. And each of these 4 points, one at the top here, one in the middle, one down here, and one out on the side, will be designed by, are currently designing the outer walls of these areas
Wow.
that will basically be set up as the initial spawn points for people. Of course, those are going to be some of the most valuable pieces of land, being around the spawn points and being around the pieces of land that are going to be most trafficked. But of course, we also have various islands and other areas. Of course, we have the green areas, which will never be developed. These are, call it preserves, that are just areas that will be set up by the DAO for different types of environments as well, maybe places to find various things and items and quests, if you will, that you
Yes.
can kind of run through. And then we have this gray areas here that will be set up for our secondary land sale that will happen after launch. And then we have the white areas, which will be areas that we develop in the future at a later date. That will be
Of course.
determined by the DAO.
That's
So
incredible.
yeah, and it's actually the most amazing part is how smoothly this runs and rotates. It's just, it's a little laggy on the screen share. It's perfectly smooth even on a $300 Chromebook. So
Yeah.
um, so that's sort of how we have our land. Once you get a piece of land, you get to build your own subverse, right? And you will stake token to see how many people you can allow into your subverse. So it may be, oh, you only have 10 to begin with, but you could stake token and make it 10,000 if you'd like. This is one of our areas that we might be able to utilize. This was actually with a different group that we had. And we'll have these templated out. So this is Paris, obviously.
Yes.
And if you walk around, this is a clubbing event that we did. And you can enter the dance floor, of course, and just be automatically connected like we are in our area right now with everyone in that space. So just through a video chat that you can actually speak with everyone with.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we have.
I'm,
Oh, go ahead.
so I'm just sitting in aura. Like I might need to get a bib here because I'm drooling. Like it's incredible.
Yeah, I mean, it's really amazing how far along we've come from the perspective of where a lot of the current projects are and how many
So
people
would
that we
there
can actually
be
fit in our area.
would there be roads, cars, built, or you sort of walk primarily is the form of transport?
Well, actually, there's going to be a couple forms of transport. We do have teleportation, but that will only be if you have been invited by a landowner to actually have that point of interest.
Of course.
So, in other words, you may, once you get a piece of land, you get an invite for that piece of land that you can send to anyone and they will spawn on that piece of land, right?
Yeah.
And if you've spawned to that piece of land once and you've gotten that special invite, then you can spawn there anytime you like.
Okay.
So unlike other areas, of course, you'll always be able to spawn to the 4 meta Sarai. And we are looking at different modes of transportation, including boats and including hot air balloons as well that you can go around in.
That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, but we do have roads. So like this main area that's laid out with this line is a road that's set up. There's more to come. We actually have sort of a whole layout of a system of grids, various trails and things like that that are go through the mountain passes and everything else.
Maybe flying drones in the future as well.
You know, that's the biggest problem is trying to figure out what's next, right?
Yes.
And
Which
what's
was going to
first
be
and what's next.
which was going to be my question, right? So like one of the questions that I have is, with endless possibilities, because what you're creating, there's endless possibilities. How does the team focus the development? Like where do you start? Where do you how are you guys prioritizing development? Because you could build anything and do anything in this world. So how does that work at the moment?
Well, obviously, we every week we actually have a committee that meets that we talk about the priorities of the week. So we have a full roadmap plan, which we try not to make too public because then people get really excited about some things, and we
Of
want to make
course.
sure that it's set up in the right way. So we have all sorts of different items from e-commerce systems to ways that we can do teleportation groups or quite a few other things. Sorry, share my webcam. Quite a few other things that we can actually run through from everything from gambling casinos to building out horse racing tracks to mass sporting events that people can actually watch live. And of course, our
Yeah.
video technology is our base, right? So we're trying to revolve everything around video technology and interaction with people to begin with, as well as focus on e-commerce systems.
You could have like
And
esport bar. Like, you could have
you know,
a bar and
esports
everybody
arenas.
sits in there. Everybody sits in there. Like I race cars competitively myself. So like, we could just sit around and watch the Formula One or watch a previous race
Exactly
that I
right.
participated in. That's it's so cool.
Yeah, I mean, the possibilities are endless. And to say that over 4 years, people have come up to me with every possible idea that you can imagine, and I've heard it 4 times.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of making everything work 100% correctly, right on a low-end device. Because we do run it on the phone. We do run it on, a $300 Chromebook through the browser. And
Yeah.
now we're working on VR as well. So initially, what we're going to do is VR will work on some of the subverses that are compatible with VR. They may not be fully compatible on the top level layer because of the limitations on some of the things in VR.
Yes.
But what we noticed when we first developed the whole world system with this 28-kilometer space is that people only want to be in VR for 20 minutes. And if you
Yeah.
want to do a long concert event a KOL AMA like we are right now, after about 20 minutes, people are tired of it. So
Yes.
it's neat, it's great, and it's good for specific interesting items that you would like to do from a game perspective. But for general communication and talking with people, it's more important that we have the browser. It's more important that you can walk away from the conversation too, which is also
Yes.
quite nice, which you cannot do in a Zoom call.
Yes.
So,
Absolutely, absolutely. No, I think it's spot on. Like I can really tell the amount of detail that have gone into this from a practical point of view, which is exciting because a lot of times people go out there and create things, and it's like, well, but it's not practical, and that's where it needs to be. So from my end, what have been some of the biggest challenges in terms of the development side?
well, you know what? It's really easy. It's actually creating a metaverse is really similar to launching a token, right? It's really easy to do it poorly,
Yeah.
right? So I can go launch a token out onto a DEX in about 4 hours here, right?
Yes.
Not going to do well. It's not going to work right, and it's going to be over in a minute. And it's one of the things that people have criticized us for, that we've kind of pushed our token launch a little bit further out. It's because we're trying to do it 100% correctly
Yeah.
and have long-term sustainability. Same thing with the metaverse side. I can go out to the Unity asset store, which is what I did originally 5 years ago, right? And grab a bunch of assets, take pun server game positioning system, and take this off the shelf and that off the shelf and mash it all together, and it doesn't work on anything.
Of course.
And what we've really done is, by bringing on this team, we're now 52 people on our team, including all of our community managers and the people working on this full time. And really what we've done is the way we scrutinize assets, the way we've done our own the video system, the way we've even integrated our head system and scrutinized those assets really, really down to a very low level, looking at everything from a performance CPU perspective to make sure it runs correctly on a very low end device. That's what makes it work. And even
Yes.
building our own game positioning system, because game position systems are built for first-person shooters. We're not doing a first-person shooter here. We're doing a completely different type of animal that we can run on like a 2K connection, and making sure that this is accessible to people all over the world, and even getting through corporate firewalls as well, which we've accomplished that task as well.
For me, I always get excited when a project says that they've delayed the launch of their token. It means that you're serious. It means that you're here to be around for a very long time. Like, what company wouldn't want to launch their token? Like delaying the token is detrimental to the company's profits, right? So if you're delaying that, it means that you're serious.
Well, we're not going after the quick buck here. We're well funded. We can make sure that we get this out correctly. And in doing so, just to launch a token to have a token launch doesn't make sense to us. We want to make sure that we get the right consumer base, the right people involved, the right people out with the land that are building out content, because I think content is king for us. So we're really even scrutinizing some of the initial outpouring of land, of who we're giving it to specifically. We've had some very big, people or celebrities that said they were interested in coming with us. And we were like, you don't fit our target market, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And so, what we're trying to do is really go beyond just the crypto community and go to the mainstream community. Because what we want to really be on a larger idea is basically that wonderful bridge between the traditional brands and community that are out there into the crypto Web3 world, right?
Yes.
And I think we have the right team in place and the right, let's call it history, and that we have the connections and people to do that. So it's just, we're in a wonderful opportunistic space here at this point.
You really are. And what are some of the key announcements, or some of the key things that are coming up next?
So we are beginning our land sale to our backers next week, where our backers will actually be selecting a very small portion of our land, 100, 200 pieces. Our whitelist has been closed at this point for our community whitelist that we went out and did an outreach program for another 100 pieces of land. and that will happen soon after. And then we're going to be doing some, key distribution of land to celebrities, large groups, different brands as well that we've already had in the works for some time now. And once we have all that, we will begin doing a couple of INOs with launch pads that we're working with for a few pieces of land here and there, just slowly distributing out, getting the community excited. And then we're going to be auctioning off on OpenSea some of our most valuable pieces of land. And then we're going to be doing mass distribution just after that. But the biggest news, of course, the biggest news, of course, is going to be the full announcement of all 4 of our architects who are world-renowned. Their buildings in all the major cities of the world, from museums and everything else. And just being on those phone calls, hearing what they're doing and how excited they are about building in the metaverse is amazing. So just having some of the, we have one of the most world-renowned city planners with Thomas that has designed our entire area and come up with the narrative as well. So
I can tell that you want to tell the Crypto Serpent community like who these architects are, but I feel like I'm gonna be made to wait a little bit longer.
I did mention 2 of them, but that's going to hit the major news wires in the next few weeks. So
fantastic.
Yep.
That's really cool. Really, really, really cool. One of the questions that I have, and like from like a curiosity point of view, having experienced it now, having thank you, obviously for the preview of what will be, like something really, really exciting once the public is able to purchase. But how do you see the world evolve? Let's say by the end of 2023, right? Let's say. How do you see the vision, from where we are in April 2022, by the end of 2023, what's your vision right now that you could see this evolve to?
Well, I mean, the end of 2023 is decades away, right? In the crypto space.
Yeah.
No, but so when I see 2023, and again, the metaverse combines all things of Web3, right? Which is why everyone's so excited about it. From the ability to gate people into specific areas with NFTs, to being able to display some of the artworks that you see around our office of some major artists, right? To being able to have utility with token and voting systems with DAOs, right? So by the end of 2023, we will have a fully sold out launched world where people are running events, running concerts, running all sorts of great art competitions and selling NFTs and marketplaces that really bring together all these Web3 brands. And I think we'll have so much from the perspective of being able to rent spaces within our worlds for people that only want it for a short period of time. And this is a lot of stuff that we'll even have it by the end of this year. Looking out to 2023, 2024, 2025, it's all about the integration and the interoperability between these metaverses. We're already partnering with a couple of different groups that have grants from other major metaverses to watch how we can portal between our own systems. We'll own land in Sandbox, we'll own land in Decentraland, we'll own land in Victoria VR. The question is how will those NFTs that are owned translate between the underlying worlds, and can I carry it over between them? And that's stuff that we're currently working on with APIs, and we actually spoke about. But I think the main thing, if someone asks you like what the metaverse will be in 2030, and they tell you what it's going to be, they're lying. It's the same guy that's going to tell you what the stock market will be in 2030.
Of course,
because right now we're just defining it all. And we're all just different flavors of one specific world.
Yes.
So, yep.
It's exciting. It really, 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 really is exciting, and I hope that the audience have enjoyed this truly as much as I have, because I'm walking away with so many ideas. How can I like how can I maximize this? How can I do, how will I be able to use this? Because it's really, really unique. To tell people, hey, by the way, if you want to have an interview with the Serpent, come into my Metaverse lounge, and like let's sit down and have a chat and have a walk and talk, and like it's just so it's so good.
You can do what we do. We actually, within our team, we basically have morning coffee and afternoon beer in the office every day. So basically, you
Nice.
walk in and you kind of grab someone and you start overhearing a conversation, and that's where you get involved with your community more. And
Yeah.
you can kind of go off into different areas and different conversations that you didn't even plan on having, and
Yeah. I
those
mean,
are sometimes the best ones.
one thing is, like, jumping on a Zoom and, having a Zoom meeting with some of your fans and all that. But the other thing is, being together in that particular world, like,
Exactly.
it's really, really exciting. I do like the sound of the beers as well. I actually have one last question, and that
Sure.
is in regards to the team, because obviously your team is growing and expanding, right? How much has this metaverse world helped with team culture? Because I think that some of the questions
Yeah.
that I have, because I do come from a corporate background. I worked with a really large organization in Australia before starting my own agency. So how has this metaverse assisted in the team building aspect?
Well, I mean, there's two aspects to it, right? So, one, my team is all over the world. So, from United States, India, UK, Spain, Serbia, Switzerland, where I am, right? Um, I have actually only met some of my team members once, and that was a couple of years ago,
Yeah,
which is kind of
nice.
it's really strange. And these are people I work with every day, and that are very good friends of mine, and I've known for 2 years now. And we started this, remember, through coronavirus, right? So we couldn't even go anywhere. But we
Mm.
have a really tight culture, and when people come in and see that how tight that culture is, even though that we are remote, it's purely because of this. And the way that we interact with each other, the way that we continually communicate, and just pick up that phone or pick up the bump into factor inside the metaverse, where you walk by them and you just start the conversation and say, "Oh, I didn't know your wife was pregnant," and
Yeah.
and that just sort of comes out. And by the way, we have family members that are here, and my kids are in here, and my colleagues are talking to the kids, and everything else. And it's really just great to have that sort of factor where people can come in and join as a community.
That's incredible. That's
Yeah,
incredible. Look, thank you so very much. I can't wait to be up to date and keep up to date with what is going on and what is happening in this particular space of yours. And I can't wait to see it all unfold.
hey, it'll be great, and look forward to our announcements on the land sale and our architects here next week. And yeah, and also just have everyone subscribe to PAX World Team on Twitter.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely,
that's it.
absolutely. I'll be definitely, sharing the links as well. Make sure to
Absolutely.
stay up to date. Put those alarm bells on, because obviously it is very, very important. With new announcements coming through. But no, definitely, like really, really exciting. And congratulations again on the awards. Now that I've experienced it, I can see why.
Yeah. Well, thanks, Crypto Serpent. We really appreciate you having you here, and you're more than welcome to come in anytime. And we might even just give you your own office, and you can go play around with it and bring people in.
Um, I'm looking forward to this. Thank you very much.
Great. Thanks. Talk to you soon.
All right.